All right, welcome to our next speaker, Tarun Chhabra. And Tarun he is a Tableau enthusiast and AVP at JPMorgan Chase, where he works on Atteryx and Tableau extensively. And as a result, today he is talking to us about the great combination of Tableau and Atteryx. So take it away.
Thank you, Emily. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is doing good. This is a great year, I would say. And we are in middle of pandemic, so we are sitting at home, so a lot of time to practice Tableau, Alteryx, and all. So let's get started. I'll share my screen quickly. I hope you see the screen.
Yep, we're good to go.
All right. So today I'm going to just talk about my experience with Tableau and Alteryx. So it's a great combination, as the heading says. So I am going to talk about how it enabled the automated reports in banking domain. First, the introduction. So my name is Tarun. This is my Twitter handle. I have recently started a blog, tabloids.blogspot. Uh, I have a nine years of career. I have worked on many different technologies: C, C++, Perl, shell scripting, and all. Tableau Alteryx is the latest one which I'm working on right now. And sorry. Uh, so as Emily mentioned, I was working with JP, but since I have provided my intro, after that I have changed my organization. Now I'm working with PepsiCo Global Business Services. My passion are design and music. My location is Bangalore in India, and I am currently member of Tableau with Connect team, which Sagar Kapoor is leading. So let's talk about Tableau first. So Tableau reports, I started using Tableau in 2017. My first client was in finance, and they were not using Alteryx or anything. They were using Tableau reports on top of the Teradata. And the first example which I would give you is one workbook which has 14 dashboards, 98 sheets. So it was a big workbook, and there were almost 35 workbooks with that client, and it was like they were updating it weekly as well as monthly. So it was a huge task for us to refresh. And if we are changing anything on data, then we need to update the Tableau workbooks. And we were not given any we were not given anything where we can handle the data. So there was a different data team. So we were directly given the Tableau extracts, and we have to work on Tableau workbooks whenever data is changing or anything is changing. So they were so in Tableau we were directly using Teradata query. Now when we connect Tableau to Teradata, it works really well. So SQL queries, kind of queries are there, and Tableau can directly fetch in the live data source. So that client wanted the live data source, but they were refreshing it every week. So it was not kind of a live, but they actually said it like it is live for their end users, so that every week they are creating reports out of it. So they had almost 14 million records. So every time the user is changing any filter on Tableau, or user is doing anything or creating a new query on Tableau, it directly hits Teradata, creates that query on the go, and then get the data from Teradata. It was really slow. And I have seen many examples where many of the dashboards open in 1 minute. So 60 seconds is a very long time when we work on any of the dashboard. So it was terrible. So we did many different exercises to bring down the time. So we were able to bring down to 35 seconds, but still it was quite high. So that was the time like they started using other ETL tools for data. And after that, I changed my organization. So that was something where I thought like, okay, how to handle large data when Tableau is creating a SQL query for each and every filter change the user is making, because all the filters were on context, and they were using many different LODs which were based on context filters, and there were a lot of filters on the dashboard as well. So after that, uh, in my previous organization in JP Morgan, so I came across with one of the data set called SBase. So that is a three-dimensional data set. So, and that has a billions of rows and daily transaction data, and everything was so huge. It was pretty difficult that we connect that directly to Tableau and then create workbooks on top of those. So for that, I was fortunate enough, I got the chance to work on Alteryx there, and we started connecting our source data to Alteryx, and then uh, 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 sending the data to Tableau to create the visualization. Because Alteryx actually created many different, we created many different workflows on Alteryx, automated them, and what it did is we do not have to uh, we don't have to concentrate on how data will load in Tableau, because it was a huge data set, and Alteryx actually rendered everything, cleaned everything for us, and created one output in Tableau server automatically, and that was a big hit for us to automate the reports, because as it was a banking sector, and we do not want to create slow reports, because reports are being used for many decision making, and the end user we don't want to lose focus from them, and we actually wanted to digitize the things, so that's why we used Alteryx there. And as Jim mentioned in the last presentation, like Tableau need a special structure of data, so that is pretty useful for us, so when we are structuring the data. So this was the example. Like I will take you through one example where it is an example from my personal experience in the firm. So I actually created many different big workflows where we had multiple data sets from multiple sources. So Alteryx actually was able to handle data from Hadoop, Excel, Teradata, XML, PDF parallelly. So we can create multiple parallel data sources, and then within one workflow, and then push it to further for processing. So I used all these data sources within one workflow, and then in Alteryx created many different workflows for different logics. So Alteryx is basically you can create any type of logic which connects you with data. If you have any text, if you have any number, if you have anything, if you are filtering out anything, like whatever different logics you can think about in terms of text or numbers, you can create that logic in Alteryx, and you can automate that particular workflow so that you do not have to recreate those things. So in banking sector, what happens is there are many different reports, and there are many manual inputs as well, and the numbers change very frequently. So the users who are working on Excel right now, who are creating reports on Excel, they actually need that flexibility to manually change the numbers as per the directions given or as per the scenarios. And Alteryx has enabled us by giving us the option of giving multiple inputs from different sources, so that we can put in those changes within the workflow and then show the numbers on Tableau dashboard as per the changes. So this publish to Tableau server, this was the game changer as well. So what this does is whenever you have an Alteryx workflow, so this tool will publish your extracts directly into Tableau server as live connection, and you can connect to those extracts directly in your Tableau workbook. So whenever your workflow runs, you make any changes to data, and Alteryx will replace your extracts into the server. And once that extract is replaced, whenever you are opening your workbook, it's always new, it's always refreshed. You do not need to do anything. So this complete portion is automated on Alteryx server, and after that you connect it to Tableau report, and then go from there. So I'll just show you one example there, where I have like I do not have any particular example to show from my previous work, because I have changed the form recently. So I can show you one example which I created just 2 hours back. So I'll show you one example where this is the Alteryx workflow, where what I'm doing is I'm taking stock info from XML data set. So this is one of the input where I am using XML data set, and it has uh, just one field with XML. And once I run it, so once I run it, it will read that XML. It will dynamically change everything, and then it will upload this to my Tableau server. Sorry, some issue with the file. So it will upload this file to the Tableau server. So what will happen is, once I automate this workflow onto my Tableau server, oh sorry, onto my Alteryx server, so it will run automatically as per schedule. Let's say I want to run it once every day in morning 9 a.m. So every day 9 a.m. Alteryx server will run this workflow, fetch the data for me, and put it on Tableau server as per all the logics, different logics that are applied. And this will result in um, the data sources of this workbook I created on top of that data set from that XML. So if I run that every day, it will update that XML or whatever the source of XML is. It can be your source folder. If it is on server, it can be your shared drive folder. It can be SharePoint folder, anything. And you can just place that file or ask or set up one connection on the web, which will grab the data for you. That can also be automated. And like this data can be updated every time that workflow is run. So this is actually making a change for on data, and this is kind of a daily data. This is just a sample data set, but this can be automated, and you just need to open your workbook and see the data. That's it, and make further analysis on data. You do not need to worry about how to pull in the data or how to bring in the data to create your workbooks. Uh, so this is one of the example. This is kind of a similar example that I worked. So I'll take you I'll take you through a few use case. So this is one of the workflow. So sorry for the quality of the screenshot, because it's from my old work, and I didn't find anything. I cannot bring that old Alteryx workflows to take the screenshots. But this is one of the workflow that I created. So what it did is it created multiple outputs for me whenever this workflow ran on server, and automatically sent it to the end users as a report. So it was kind of a thing where we are creating report on Tableau, as well as if someone needs to do ad hoc analysis on the numbers, because they are using Excel since last 15, 20 years. So they were pretty comfortable with Excel. So this sends them that file. Now this workflow, if you see the size, this is one portion of that workflow. And this is the complete workflow. And you can see like how many different logics are created within that particular workflow. And this workflow usually it took five to 6 minutes to run, and there were almost 4 million records that it actually cleaned, it actually structured and sent it to Tableau automatically. So after setting up this workflow, I do not need to go into the data or the data sources, like how I'm going to connect all those Excel sheets to Tableau, and then create calculations on top of those. So for this is the example. So in this one, it actually took out a lot of work from the end users. So it's a 6 days of work from 20 members team and 5 line of business. So it was a huge work which we brought down to a few minutes. So, so now there are 5 dashboards always up to date, and there is no need to go into the data set or go into the workbook or Tableau site. It's fully automated. There are a few use cases which I worked on. I'll show like what use cases I worked. So it's a hierarchy identification and auto-generated mapping. So we created a map for our dashboard, and that mapping was everyone like 2 people were working for 1 day to identify like what changes are there in the mapping. So as hierarchical data is there everywhere in banking system. So this was where we brought down 16 man hours to 2 minutes. So it was like the workflow was creating the mapping itself, and it was additionally adding the mapping to the previous mapping. And there was nothing to do, you just need to review. 2 minutes is just to review like the workflow is running correctly and it has created the correct output. That's it. And if you say the actual amount of time it took to run this workflow, it's 3 seconds. So, and I have put 2 seconds just for the review time. So this is one of the example. Another was the automated balance sheet and income statement. So we created multiple workflows for different line of businesses, and we created the workflow in such a way that earlier it was almost 76 sheets in 5 Excel workbooks that they used to uh, update every month. So we created Alteryx on top of it. Then we created all the logics there and created Tableau workbooks on top of it. So Tableau was quite fast to handle those that amount of data, and uh, we reduced 630 man hours to 30 minutes. 30 minutes is just for running the workflows on server, and we do not need to do any. We just schedule the workflows. That's it. And this was actually done with a huge effort, and it actually automated everything for us. And we now the end user do not have to go ahead and see the data in Excel um, or check if the data is extracted correctly or not. So this was fully automated workflow. Another example is Jira dashboard and notification. So this was something which I created personally. So this particular dashboard is where so I extracted the data from Jira using Alteryx, and I cleaned the data and did put many different logic on top of it and created one Tableau extract and created one Tableau report on top of it, which actually created one dashboard for the managers to identify how many resources are there, how many resources are engaged in what work in which project, how many resources have spent how much time on each of the projects. So that was really that really enabled the managers to check like where team is heading, how we are efficiently managing team, and how we can like where is the possibility of improvement. Another was this auto marketing rate adjustment. So they actually used to send the rate adjustment to the end users for the auto business. And what they used to do is they maintained one Excel sheet where almost 22 sheets were there, 22, 21 or 22 sheets were there, and they used to update those sheets with formulas every time they need to refresh it. And that refresh was once in a month. So I created one workflow on Alteryx to automate that one and plotting those graphs automatically onto Tableau. So that actually enabled us to create that automated workflow from data to the visualization, so that end user can focus on analytics instead of thinking about data and other stuff. The last is the automated amortization calculation and confirmation. So this was actually a something where they need to calculate the amortization amount, and they need to confirm it to the end users that this is the amount that is generated from the system. So for this, they created 10 reports every month, and it was a huge task as well. So they used to update it, and there were multiple steps added there. So we reduced 48 man hours to 2 minutes. So we just need to run the workflow and it is done. And if even if not that, you can just schedule it and it is done. So every time it is scheduled, it is whenever you're going to the Tableau server to look at your report, it is automatically done. You do not need to step into to see or get the data or other details. So these are the use cases that I worked on, and it's been a huge success for us as a combination Tableau and Alteryx. Um, so that's it. This is my Twitter and blog handle, and I am on Tableau Public as well on this name. Thank you so much. Any questions? You can reach out to me anytime.
Hey, this is Emily. Can you move back to the man-hour slides, because I forgot to take a picture of it and I want to. Yeah, because that was like, that is so powerful, I think, right? Like being able to condense, because then what you can do is to see, like, take the dollar amount of, the hourly wage
Yeah,
based
actually, in many in many projects, it is difficult to identify how many man hours were there. So we identified for each of the report how many hours someone is spending to identify like what data to extract and how much time it takes to work on those reports, and how much time they are creating the final product. So that's what 16 hours is, where they are extracting, checking, then creating the report and sending it to the end users. And we just sent the links to the end users of Tableau server, and it was automated from backend. So it's just 2 minutes for us after this combination
Right, and we have
implementation.
a question from Quentin, who says, obviously using Alteryx has resulted in much more efficiency for you in the past, but is there a threshold of certain amount of data that makes Alteryx superior in certain cases versus something like Tableau Prep? So can you speak to that?
So definitely, like there are different things where you can compare Tableau Prep as well as Alteryx. Both are on the same logic, I would say. So whatever Alteryx is doing right now is what Tableau Prep is doing. But there are a lot more possibilities in Alteryx when you have a lot of manual data set, or if anything which is not set, where you are creating string logics or something. So I think Tableau Prep is not there, but that is a wonderful tool. But I have not used it in any of my professional career right now, till now. So, but when you say the amount of data, Alteryx can handle big data set. And when you are scheduling any workflow on Alteryx server, you do not need to worry about like how much data is there and how much time is it taking to run the workflow, because on server it's everything is on backend. So in few workflows I have seen, like it's a huge data set. So my workflows, I worked on almost 4 to 5 million records, and it ran almost in 10 minutes. So that was the largest data set I have worked on. And on server, I have seen many workflows which took 30 minutes, but the data set was quite huge in that case. So if I compare 10 minutes to 5 million, and then it for 30 minutes, it's almost like 20 million records. So in that way, they are able to, both of these tools are able to handle it. But to make reports faster, we used Alteryx as a solution. And after implementing it, if your workbook is opening in 2 or 3 seconds, I think it's a huge plus point for your end users to use Tableau and move away from Excel.
All right, and we have another question here. How do you learn Alteryx on your own when the free trial is only available for 14 days? Is there another way to do that, since this person is very interested in adding this skill to their resume, but 14 days is kind of short?
So there are 2 3 things I like Alteryx provides. Earlier it was 14 days, but I think now it is 1 month of trial for Alteryx. I was fortunate enough that I got the license in my own organization. So I am working since then on Alteryx, and in current organization as well, I am like working on Alteryx. So I'm fortunate enough to work on that. Its license is, yes, it is costly, but if you really want to learn it, take the 1 month trial version. After that, you can check in your organization if they can provide the license. Otherwise, they have some 1 year license for students as well. Maybe you can check that if you are a student. Uh, they can provide you, they can help you with that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for this. It was really informative, and I think blew a few minds as well.
Sure.
So
Thank you.
thank you again.
Thank you
There's
for having me here.
Tarun's contact info. Make sure you tweet at him. That's what the hip kids say, right? Tweet at him. So tag him, share a takeaway, of course, just show the impact that he's had, and your takeaways from his session. All right, and with that, we're going to take a short 5-minute